The selection of Donald Trump has only escalated tensions around the world, despite his loyalists, just like the Obama supporters, saying that the previous political party is fully responsible for the wars that were started and the maintenance of those wars. So far, in the eyes of his supporters, Trump's hands are still clean of the blood, but they're only going to be able to maintain this tap dance bullshit line that it's Soros and Hillary for only so long. What we're seeing right now is an escalation in tensions around the world, in the Middle East, in Yemen. Already tensions between Iran and the U.S. Navy, with Iran denying trying to start a fight with the U.S. Navy, as if that would make sense. Why would Iran do that? And why are the war hawks, those that are so quick to judge the Persians or the Iranians, so naive that they're missing the larger point? A war with Iran would bring in Russia. Iran and Russia have been building their economies together. They have been engaged, obviously, in the trade of oil for a very long time and the distribution. They have built up their networks. They have built up their SCO with Russia's help as well, and other nations. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization. There's not going to be an attack on Iran without the other countries getting involved. And that's what's very important about this. The same can be said about North Korea. According to Russia Today, the Iranian military has brushed aside accusations from the U.S. Navy that its fast attack boats came dangerously close to a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Strait of Hormuz on Tuesday as it was on its way to the Persian Gulf for an anti-terrorism mission. In other news regarding North Korea, they have the latest news: threatened South Korea during a U.S. war game, and they are believed to be close to their next nuke test. It comes on the heels of the accusation that the North Korean government was involved in a huge bank heist in New York. According to RT, Pyongyang said it may attack U.S. and South Korean troops participating in an annual joint military exercise, which North Korea believes could be a cover for military aggression against it. So there's a massive drill going on, war game drill between the U.S. and South Korea. The military exercises are called Foul Eagle and Key Resolve. This is in, of course, addition to the THAAD anti-missile defense system, which is enraging China. Those are offensive systems. Russia has already stated such. And so there's hypocrisy. There are people that will criticize during Obama's administration movements of the military-industrial complex, and they will fake compassion for civilians. They will fake compassion for innocent Muslims until, of course, that narrative no longer suits them. But if they really, really want to act like they care, they blame the Democrats for all the wars. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. But I sure as hell know what it's like for Democrats and Republicans to think that I'm their political enemy. But it's just not true. It is the lack of compassion that I see from our so-called leaders today, Trump, Obama, and others, with regards to the millions dead. That's why I can't back anything that they do. Anyone legitimate in my eyes, for example, running for office, that includes congressmen and women. If ending the wars is not their number one agenda, if showing remorse or trying to fix what was wronged isn't their agenda, I don't trust them. Furthermore, I don't really trust people that put all their faith and hope into politicians that don't make those issues their issue. It leads me to believe that those people don't really believe that those are the most important issues of our lifetime. So when I hear people going, healthcare, 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 and they don't say one word about all these people that have been violently removed from the planet by the same system that they're begging health care for, tell you what, those people are sick. And it's not the kind of sickness that your doctor can cure. Doctor, doctor, give me the word. I've got I'm loving the military industrial complex. Because if they can't make a stand against what the military is doing, if they're making excuses for what the military is doing, and I met a lot of people on the left that fully believe the propaganda about ISIS. They believe it's organic. They don't really believe that intelligence communities have been fermenting an enemy forever to fight an infinite amount of enemies. A never-ending war. A war that's never going to end. A never-ending war. The Obama supporters didn't seem to get it. Why should we hold our breath in hopes that those supporting Trump are going to get it? Border wall to cost $1 billion for the first 62 miles. Some of the initial estimates for the border wall are out as construction is soon to begin. Trump has requested $999 million from Congress this fiscal year to begin border wall construction, and most of that will go towards repairing several miles of border fence and constructing 48 miles of new wall sections. In addition, eminent domain is on the table. They offered one woman a few $1,000s for like several acres, and she's afraid to say no. She's afraid of the consequences. In addition to that, massive war games are coming up in September. I want you to pay attention to the anomaly to where we see massive war games taking place in Russia as we're seeing massive war games taking place organized by NATO in Eastern European countries, just like in 2007 where you had Top Off 4 in Portland, Oregon, as well as Vigilant Shield in aerospace, simulating a response to an attack from overseas. Meanwhile, China and Russia are involved in their own joint war game. Or even as far back as 2007, the U.S. was their enemy. Oh, of course, terrorists are always the convenient excuse while they're building up and they're working together. Yes, they're fighting terrorists. Yes, that's why all these massive war game exercises are taking place with hundreds of thousands of troops. So NATO's concerned about Russia and their war games. They both have war games planned in the Baltics at the same time. According to the Wall Street Journal, Western military commanders are concerned that large-scale Russian military exercises near the Baltic states this September pose risks for a miscalculation that could lead to a crisis. The exercises, which Western officials estimate will involve nearly 100,000 troops, will be the first to roll out after the new NATO force in the region reaches full strength. Meanwhile, some are saying that Russia is ready to collapse the international banking system. The question is that what some people want? For those geopolitical analysts that believe that Vladimir Putin is trying to stop the New World Order, which is a fallacy. He is there to play the role that he's playing. He's not outside this global system. Without a doubt, Vladimir Putin was selected just like Donald Trump. This is something that people are resistant to. Nevertheless, there are people out there that for whatever reason, they are unable, and I'm going to pick my words carefully, they are unable for some reason to criticize Putin. Is it the power of suggestion? Is it mind control? Because when you just put your faith 100% into someone that you don't know, whoever it is, who's involved in overseeing militaries, who is overseeing a superstate nation, where does this distrust of corruption for one's own the corruption in one's own country, why does that have to equate for some people to admiration, love, trust for a foreign leader? We're going to come back to this because I've made my own contrarian statements about Russia today before the current what is, right? Fake news witch hunt. Russian propaganda witch hunt. In which right now innocent people are being blamed and called propagandists when in reality they are human beings, they are Americans with an opinion. I may not agree with their opinion, but it's an opinion. Unfortunately, I would say to you that a lot of Americans have been baited into a trap by real-time propaganda. And while it's labeled Russian propaganda, it's really New World Order propaganda. Anytime you got people into a mindset to where they're like, well, the corruption in my government and in my country is the worst of the world. Maybe we need intervention from foreign forces and nations and leaders. You know, to where like memes become popular. Putin for world president. Well, it was not cool, right? When they did it with Obama. And we spoke up against that. Then why turn around and do it to a foreign leader that you've never met? What's the cause of it? I would say that the power of suggestion has been so strong that a certain amount of people don't even realize that what they believe is wrong. Everything they believe about Vladimir Putin and his agenda down the line is wrong. Really, where was Vladimir Putin to really stop the West in its invasion of the Middle East? Where was Vladimir Putin to really make a stink about 9/11 when Bush was the president? Oh no, Vladimir Putin was too busy vacationing with Bush. See, that was serious. And I made note of it then. I made note of the idea that we would at one point look at a stage-managed world war where these leaders who are really friends with the heads of state or other nations, they continue to build and build and build this engine of war where man and woman is set against man and woman. And they've had a lot of practice in the Middle East. Okay, turning those areas in which people live into a parking lot. As you see a Russian-U.S. coalition against ISIS. The intelligence agencies build them up. ISIS infiltrates areas in which there are innocent civilians, and both the United States and Russia go to town with their fighter jets. And the people don't realize that there's something wrong here. So if Donald Trump really had peace in mind, if Vladimir Putin really had peace in mind, if those men are in control of those nations, they would be curtailing this buildup to war. And if people are to say, well, Trump doesn't control this nation, he doesn't control shit, and neither does Putin, then why do people put so much faith in them? In the next headline, China is ready to send weapons and combat aircraft to the disputed islands. And we're talking South China Sea, East China Sea. China's fully ready for combat. While the U.S. beefs up its military presence in the South Korean area with the deployment of THAAD, according to the Daily Caller, China is suspected to have already had HQ-9 surface-to-air missiles already in the South China Sea, and many soon are believed to be deployed to the region. U.S. intelligence officials revealed that hundreds of Chinese surface-to-air missiles were awaiting development in the South China Sea, possibly to protect Chinese airstrips. Meanwhile, there's a reason why Elon Musk and SpaceX and NASA and all these other programs and China and Russia and these plans to colonize Mars and the moon, what do they know that we don't know? But, of course, he's trying to cover up his tracks. Elon Musk is making a stance against artificial intelligence, and he says this is one of the reasons for the off-world bases. For those that have paid attention, Elon Musk has been in the news for several years, and many people have speculated, well, what is the real agenda for this off-world colonization plan? Have they really made their way to Mars and the moon? Or is there another program going on that they're not telling the people of the world about? Meanwhile, we've already seen how enraged China became after Donald Trump spoke to the leader of Taiwan. And what have we seen in the last few days? That's right. There's an arms trade deal with Taiwan that has been approved, and it's starting out at $1 billion starting bid in U.S. Arms support, an arms trade deal between our nation and the nation of Taiwan. Yeah, I'm sure this is something that China's just going to sit back and watch. And so this is a conflict that's brewing. But what I am proposing to you, and I believe I'm one of the only people that's proposing this to you, they have all this planned out for the post-2020s. And it is about mutual assured destruction. And the real elite of the world, they don't plan to be affected by whatever they're fomenting. So this is not a time for arrogance. This is not a time for blind faith in these misleaders, as if they are religious figures themselves. Really, God sent Donald Trump. More like the New World Order. So we are, in my opinion, seeing things move along right on schedule.